afternoon, good evening, good morning, whatever it is, wherever you are. Hope you're having a good one. Today we will be tying a wounded piper, a variation on a piper pattern. They're an important one for us here in New Zealand. They make up a key part of the food chain for a lot of the predatory fish that we target, ranging from kingfish, yellowtail kingfish, kahawai and snapper, plus pretty much anything else that will take them if we can. Material wise, it's a bit of polyarn and red in the bottom, predator fibres, we've got some pearl crystal flash, some Skeena blend Semperfli, Cashmere Monkey, just a generic hollow eye, quite a larger size, and we have some of the mirror tinsel and some fluoro orange Perdigon body in the nose. A couple key points to make around tying it. Sorry, unfortunately the length of the fly pops out the frame. But you want to make sure that end of the fly is nice and tapered, looking like that. You can see that flash coming through a bit better there as well. So it's just teasing out the ends of the predator fibres and the Cashmere Monkey to make that nice tapered end to the fly. And the other one as well, when you're selecting the material or cutting the material off, you don't want to use too much. You want it nice and sparse. You can see, you can almost see the bodkin through the back side of that. You just want that sort of translucency to it. But that being said, we'll crack into it. I hope you enjoy, and I hope it's a helpful pattern for you to have in your saltwater fly boxes. Cheers. Alright, first things first, we're tying on an RX SA220 streamer hook in a number 2. You can tie bigger, smaller, whatever you need. You're starting this hook, this fly rather, almost right on the bend. Majority of the material is tied off the back of the hook, so you just want to get the startings of your thread base in there. We'll do a bit more to the front afterwards when we get the beak going. Just get rid of your tag end. Right, next up we'll tie in the polyarn. You just want to take a strip of it, and I use about 1/4 to 1/3, and just taper out the end a little bit. This imitates an injury or wounded gills with some blood flowing back from it, and we're just securing it in right where we started that first thread wrap. So again, we're just giving that impression of a piper that's already had something have a go at it. You can substitute this for sparkle dub, red predator fibre, or whatever you want to use, but I like the polyarn. Cool, and just get that nice and secured in, just so it's hanging up the top. Alright, next up we've got our predator fibre. I do apologise, a lot is shooting out the back of the side of the frame of the camera, but just keep in mind as you're building it, you're looking for that tapered look. So when you cut it off, it's going to be a bit square. Just tease out a few of the bits, a few of the fibres, sorry, just so they form a little taper there. And then lengthwise, you want to go about double the length of the hook shank, and again, just keep it sparse. You don't need too much material, you just want enough there so that they can see it, but it's just going to be that nice translucent sort of look on the fish. And then just get rid of the excess, and you can use that to make your next one. And just make sure it's nice and secured in. Just working in around that, you don't catch your thread on the hook point. Just get it nice and tight. Cool. Alright, next up we have our flash that we're going to put in there. Now we're using some of the Skeena blend, Semperfli, which is the purpley green, you can see there, and crystal pearl, both from Semperfli. It just gives the fish some of that reflectiveness that you see. I don't know, it's a bit hard to tell in that photo to begin with, but they're really actually quite tough to see on the water. They swim near the surface, so they just fit in with that shimmer and shine, and this helps to emulate some of that. Again, we're just layering it up. It's just wrapping itself a little bit there, but that's alright. Just get this back out of the way. Throw it away. Before I do that, if you are tying them bigger or if you want more flash, generally I'll just fold that over and tie it in, secure it. But these ones I don't need to. You can save that for your next one as well. And you want lengthwise, you want it just reaching out to the same point as that predator fibre. And just get it in nice and secure. There we go. Alright, next up is our Semperfli Cashmere Monkey, which we're running along the top of the fly. And I'm just using the grey colour. It's just slightly darker than the predator fibre. A bit stiffer as well, just gives it a slight bit of contrast between the two materials. Now you want that to go back just slightly longer than the predator fibres. Again, you're looking at about 2 times the hook shank. So if you want to be super specific, maybe 2 shanks and a quarter or an eighth. You really don't want to go that much further. And just get that secured in as well. At this point you've got the body built up, and we're going to do a few things with UV resin just to make sure you don't get the tail wrap. Alright, next up we are working on preventing the tail wrapping. With the long tail behind the shank, it can often twist around and be pulled in between the shank and the hook point. The best ways to start preventing that is to get some UV resin in there. Now I'm using the No-Tack UV resin thin from Semperfli. All you want to do is get some on your bodkin, and we're just going to start painting it. That's probably the only term I can think to do, but applying it or painting it to the start of the body. And you just want to start where you don't want to go all the way back. You just want to build it up, maybe inch back along the top and along the side of the predator fibres and the Cashmere Monkey and the flash. Generally I try to keep it off the poly yarn. You can take your bodkin and poke it through a little bit, which will get it inside there. You're going to get some on that poly yarn, but I just try to keep it clear of it as much as I can, which allows it to wiggle around a bit more. Once you've got it on there, you've got to cure it. So crack out your UV torch and just get that nice and cured. I find I try to hold it out sort of in the shape that you want it to go. Like if you think of something like a surf candy, you're kind of doing similar. And just building that body and just getting it to have a nice tapered sort of look. Cool. Alright, next we need to put the eyes on. Hopefully you remember back to the photo I had in the intro of this, but got quite large eyes to the size of their head and body. Now I'm just using a large hollow tinsel eye. You can use the domed ones as well if you would like, but I'm just going to get a dab of that UV resin over here. You can use super glue if you want, but I'm using this anyway, and I just keep on going. It works well. I haven't had any issues with eyes falling off or anything like that, so really there has been no reason to change. You just want to get it kind of centered just over where you've been tying in your materials there, and just give it a zap with the UV torch just to secure it on there. Now we're actually going to be filling up in between the eyes as well with the UV resin, just gives it some more support, and we'll be covering up the beak as well, or the nose of the fly. From there you just want to do the same on the other side as well. It's important just to get them nice and in line together. And just another dab of that resin, and then slide her on there. Just get it nice and square. Actually, it's quite handy filming this because I can actually see where they're lined up on the little camera beside it. But once you've got it there, just secure it in with that UV torch as well. Cool. Right, onto the nose or the beak of the fly. For this one I will be using the Semperfli mirror tinsel. It's in a colour called Mirage Iris. Generally I'll cut off a few inches so I can do a few flies with it, but it's got a cool little shine to it, sort of pearly iris colour. You just want to tie it in behind the eye, get it nice and secured in there. And then just wrap your thread forward. You're just going to wrap that material over top of it. You just want close touching wraps all the way up to the eye of the foot. There we go. And then we'll just wrap this forward. It's nothing overly complicated. You just keep wrapping. It just adds a bit more flash to the fly. The saltwater species here, especially kahawai, really respond well to flash, especially when they're feeding hard. Anything flashing away draws their eye and the movement, and they'll just smash it. It's quite exciting. And once you get to the eye of the fly there, the hook eye rather, you just secure that in. Just a few wraps, and we're going to cover up these threads with the little orange hotspot using the Perdigon body. Alright, if you remember back to that photo right at the start, these fish have a little orange hotspot right at the tip of their beak. For that I quite like using the Perdigon body and fluoro orange, and we're just going to secure that in. Just nice and secure. I'll get that out of the way. Get rid of the little tag in there, and then just wrap it forward. If you wanted, you could substitute it with an orange tying thread or any other orange coloured material, or whatever colour you choose to do the tip of it, and just cover up that tying thread that you tied in the hollow the tinsel before. Cool. Get rid of that. Last but not least, a little old whip finish. If you wanted, you could go fish it like this, but that tinsel Perdigon body is just going to get chewed up. I did kind of mention it before, but what we're going to do, it gives the fly a whole lot more support. We're just going to cover in between the eyes. As we go, we'll just give that a little blat with the UV torch. So that's just going to give your eyes a little bit more support. And then we just want to get this all covered. It looks like a bit there, but we're going to spread that around. Build up a bit of a nose on it. If you wanted, you could fill in underneath the eye as well. Generally I don't. Don't worry, it's not absolutely necessary. It's got enough holding it on already. I'll just get that nice and covered. Try to get it as smooth as you can. And then zap it with the old UV torch again. Only needs a little bit on each side. But yeah, this is a great pattern to have here down under in New Zealand. If you're coming down these ways to fish the salt, be it to chase kingfish, or if you want to get a few kahawai, which are great fish as well, definitely recommend tying a few of these. Alrighty, there you have it, one wounded piper saltwater fly. Again, keep it nice and sparse and taper off that end. Those are the key points when you're tying it. Simple fly, but a definite staple for down here. If you're coming these ways, again, like I said just before, if it's just a fish for trout, tie a few, go out, catch some saltwater fish, and you'll be having some fun as well. But yeah, hope you've enjoyed it. All the best, enjoy tying it. Have a good one. Happy tying. Cheers.